vampire cards. So what vampires is a kind of old archetype dating back to, I believe, Duel Monsters when Kaiba first used Vampire Lord. There's a few other vampire cards. They tried to come back during the Zexal era, even getting a new rank 5 Xyz monster, which should kind of tell you how these guys work. And they became one of the most overbalanced decks in the game and had a mill mechanic where they milled your opponent. While that isn't so good nowadays, there's a whole bunch of new vampire cards that tie in with the Al Dampere card that we got a while back, and they focus more on paying life points, something much more like the vampire deck is sucking the life out of you, but they do gain some life points as well with a few of their cards, and we're going to talk about all of them today. I believe there's 10 new ones, 4 spells and traps, along with 6 new monsters, which is pretty good. The 6 monsters definitely are really nice. So anyway, I'm going to start talking about them, and we'll just go off. So the first one we get is Vampire Familiar. All of these monsters are Dark Zombie, by the way, so I'm going to kind of skip over that. They're all Dark Zombie. The Vampire Familiar Dark Zombie effect, level 1, 500-0. You can only use this card's name's first effect and second effects once per turn, so it's a hard once per turn on both of its effects. Its first effect is, if this card is special summoned, you can pay 500, search a vampire monster from your deck and add it to your hand, except for itself. Its second effect is, if this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 vampire card from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard. Special summon this card from the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. That's pretty good. I like that it's the Searcher. I like that the level 1 is the Searcher and it's on special summon. That's pretty good, making it a great 1-for-1 target. The low life point cost for it is good. I would prefer if I didn't have to pay life points to search, since that's such a generic effect. The other effect of being able to send a vampire card from hand or field to summon it back is really good, especially since it uses hand, so you can toss out like a dead vampire out of your hand into the graveyard and do that. And that has some synergy with a card we'll talk about later, one of the spell cards. So yeah, second one is Vampire Brood. Never mind, I'm not even going to mention it. Vampire Brood, level 2, 1200-0. I like that they all have 0 defense. That makes them really, zombies with 0 defense always have more synergy with more things, so it's really good that they don't have defense points so far. You can only use this card's name's first effect and second effect, so hard ones per turn on both effects. This card is special summon. You can pay 500, search a vampire spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then it has the same second effect as the first one where you can send and summon. So that's pretty good. They seem to do the same thing. I kind of wish this was a level 1 too, so that way you'd have 2 really good level 1s to summon. That'd be nice, but whatever. It's decent vampire support. And it's good that this one searches spells and traps, because these new spells and traps are a lot better than the old ones. Vampire Fraulein. Fraulein means, I believe that either means pretty girl or girl in German. I was going to say French, but no, it's German. But yeah, Vampire Fraulein. Level 5, 600, 2000. Man, those are kind of bad stats for level 5. 600, 2000. Yeah. You can only use this card's first effects. So hard once per turn on the first effect. When a monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense. That's cool. So she's almost a battle fader for the deck, except it's when anything attack. That's cool. Once per damage calc, when a zombie monster you control battles an opponent's monster, pay life points in multiples of 100, max 3k. That monster you control gains attack and defense equal to the amount you paid during that damage calculation only. Third effect is, at the end of the battle phase in which this card destroyed a monster by battle, special summon as many of those destroyed monsters as possible from the graveyards to your field. So so that's kind of cool. It turns them into if you don't know vampire lore, vampires can make pseudo vampires called ghouls, where they just obey the vampire. So I kind of like that. It's oh, she steals the monster and makes it her ghoul. So that's pretty cool. I think she's pretty good. I like the fact that you can just summon her in defense position and then buff her defense, because she has a big booty. And then, but then if any other zombie battles, she can buff that guy too. So that's cool. The next one is Vampire. Also, she's level 5. She's level 5, which is relevant for vampires. Vampires like level 5s. Vampire Grimson, level 5. So 2,000, 1,400. That's pretty good. I'll take that. If a monster you control would be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can pay 1,000 for each of those monsters instead. Oh! Okay, so he has a blanket protection effect. That's cool. That's cool. At the end of the battle phase, at which this card destroyed a monster by battle, special summon. Oh, so he has the steal effect tool too. That's cool. I like that. I like that he. I like that he has the steal effect. That's nice. Vampire Scarlet. I don't know how to pronounce that. Dark Zombie level 6, 22/22. That's pretty nice. You can only use this card's name once, first effect once per turn, hard once per turn on the first effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, pay 1,000, then target a vampire in your graveyard except, you can pay 1,000, then target a vampire in your graveyard except Scarlet, special summon it, but it can't attack during this turn. That's cool. So you can make a free rank 6 off that. You can make a free Aldampier. At the end of the battle phase in which this card destroyed a monster or monsters by battle, it has the steal effect. So that's pretty good. I like that it's the Monster Reborn. I like that. Vampire Red Baron, level 6, 24, 1,000. Is that Monarch stats? 24, 1,000? Maybe Monarch support works with vampires now. Once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life point, target a monster your opponent controls and a vampire you control, one other vampire you control. Swap control those two monsters. That's kind of lame. That's a targeting creature swap. That's a little lame. At the end of the battle phase in which this card destroyed a monster by battle, you can special summon as many of those destroyed monsters as possible from the graveyards to your field. So steal effect on the second effect. So all the big ones have the steal effect, which that's pretty nice. I like that these guys steal the monsters. And I think what's really cool is that Aldampier works with this, because Aldampier is like, any monster you use to Xe summon this is treated as level 6. So you can steal your opponent's stuff and then overlay them immediately into Aldampier without using your own stuff. That's really cool. Alright, so here's the first spell card. Yeah. Vampire Desire, normal spell. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. Activate one of these effects. Target a vampire you control. Send a vampire with a different level than that monster from your deck to the graveyard. If you do that, target's level becomes the same as the sent monster's level until the end of this turn. Or number 2, target a vampire in your graveyard, send a monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the target. I wish this was send a card. Target a vampire in your graveyard, send one card you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the target. I wish, because vampires really have a tough time getting on the field, I feel. So this might be not super great, but this card does help speed them up a little bit. This is nice. This is nice. Vampire Territory, continuous spell. Once per turn, pay 500 for the rest of this turn. During the main phase, you can normal summon one vampire in addition to your normal summon or set. There we go. That's something that they really did need. They're a tribute summon deck that has a hard time tribute summoning. That's pretty good. And if you remember, Vampire Sorcerer, she's actually able to banish herself and then give you a normal summon without tributes for a vampire monster. So that's pretty good. You can combo that with this, I guess. Like normal summon Sorcerer. I think Sorcerer has an on-field effect. Then immediately tribute it off of this effect, and then use its effect to get another vampire. So you basically turn your one vampire into 2, which is nice. Then it has a second effect. If a vampire monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, gain that much life points. That's good. All right, yeah, because you're paying a lot of this, so that's good that it revives you a little bit. Alright, so here's the first trap. This is Vampire Awake, normal trap card. You can only it's a hard once per turn on activation. Special summon a vampire from your deck, but destroy it during the end phase. Why is this not a spell? This doesn't have to be a trap. This could be a spell. Like, that doesn't make much sense, that it's a trap card. I mean, I still think you play this, and then just kind of pray that nothing happens to it. Well, its effects aren't negated, so you could potentially get some of the special summon effects off with some of the vampires. So that's cool. That's cool. Then you have Vampire Domination. This is the counter trap that everyone's kind of excited about. You can only it's a hard once per turn, which sucks because this card is really good. If you control a vampire, when a monster effect or spell trap card is activated, negate that activation. If you do, destroy it. Then, if that card was a monster, gain life points equal to its original attack. So that's the other way to gain life points in the deck, and that's also it for all the vampire cards. So far, I think that counter trap is really good. Someone it's like Infinity Barrier, I believe. But like in theme. The vampires themselves, these new ones, are pretty good. I like that we got 2 new low levels. I think that's really good. I like the new spell card. With the new Link monster for them coming out, I still think you play... I think I would still play Unizombie in this deck, to a degree. Maybe. Just to get them in the graveyard. But at the same time... you also, because you still want to play Mizuki and zombies, because this is a zombie deck. I think that vampires have a much stronger outlook for them going right now. And I think that this new support is really... It was needed for them to be more relevant right now. I think that a lot of their cards are really good, and I think that people are going to find ways to make the vampires work. I don't know if that means they're going to work with the old support. I know Vampire Sorcerer is still going to be relevant in this deck because Vampire Sorcerer is amazing, and it still seems they want to be a tribute summon deck. Honestly, I was surprised they didn't give vampires the way to special summon themselves. That kind of throws me off with all these effects of being able to like with all the monsters that can special summon themselves lately. You would think that vampires might be able to do that, especially for an Xyz summon deck. So yeah, I do appreciate that they removed some of the over-tuning that was on the older vampire cards. The older vampires had an issue where they were like overly balanced, and these ones don't seem like they're fair, but they're not over-balanced to the degree of unplayability like the old ones were. So these seem pretty good. Anyway, tell me your thoughts in the comments below on the new vampire cards, and I will see you guys in the next video.